Welcome to Chilling Cold Cases. Today, we're diving into one of the darkest chapters in Atlanta's history, the Atlanta child murders. This series of horrific crimes haunted the city from 1979 to 1981, leaving a trail of fear and heartbreak. Between 1979 and 1981, Atlanta was gripped by terror as at least 28 children, teenagers, and young adults, mostly African American, went missing or were found murdered. The victims were often strangled, and their bodies were discovered in remote areas, rivers, or wooded locations around the city. The community was paralyzed by fear, and parents were afraid to let their children out of their sight. The first known victim was 14-year-old Edward Hope Smith, whose body was discovered in July 1979. As the bodies began to accumulate, the city realized it was dealing with a serial killer targeting its most vulnerable citizens. The police, FBI, and community leaders launched an intense investigation, but leads were scarce and the killer seemed to always be one step ahead. The fear and tension in the city grew, leading to widespread media coverage and the involvement of civil rights leaders. Public pressure mounted for the authorities to find and stop the killer. The big break in the case came in May 1981, when police, monitoring bridges, heard a splash in the Chattahoochee River. They stopped a car driven by 23-year-old Wayne Williams, who had been spotted near the bridge. 2 days later, the body of Nathaniel Cater, a 27-year-old man, was found downstream. Although Williams was not immediately arrested, he became the prime suspect in the murders. During the trial, the prosecution presented evidence linking Williams to several of the child murders through fiber analysis. Carpet fibers and dog hairs found on the victims matched those from Williams's home and car. Despite this, the evidence was circumstantial, and there were no eyewitnesses to the murders. In 1982, Williams was convicted of the murders of Cater and Payne and sentenced to life in prison. After his conviction, the police attributed 22 of the child murders to Williams, though he was never tried for any of them. The case was officially closed, but many questions and doubts remained. Some in the community believed that Williams was not the sole perpetrator or even the real killer of the children. They argued that the murders could not all be attributed to one person, and that the investigation may have overlooked other suspects. Over the years, new evidence and alternative theories have emerged, but the case has never been reopened. In 2019, Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms and the Atlanta Police Department announced that they would re-examine the evidence using modern DNA testing techniques, in hopes of bringing closure to the victims' families and the community. As of now, these efforts are ongoing, and the mystery of the Atlanta child murders continues to cast a long shadow over the city. The Atlanta child murders were a tragedy that left deep scars on the city. They highlighted the vulnerability of children and the devastating impact of violence on a community. Thank you for joining us as we revisited this tragic and haunting chapter in Atlanta's history. If you found this story compelling, please like, share, and subscribe for more true crime stories. Until next time.